Good morning, good afternoon, actually afternoon. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. Thank you so much for returning for my live, if you have indeed returned. And this is actually going to be an update on officially Karen Huger. There's a lovely lady right there. Of course, we know none other than Andy Cohen went to Karen and Ray's house somewhere outside of the lovely Potomac. There's debate, always been debate as to whether or not she's inside or outside of Potomac. At least it's not Timbuktu, like what she said about Wendy. But he went there, had the official sit down. I watched it last night. I watched a little bit more of it today, but I took my notes on it today. I actually enjoyed it a lot. So everybody, welcome into Sandra P's Gen Extra. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are Team Replay, I appreciate you as well. And whether you're here for the live, whether you're here after the live during Team Replay, I always appreciate it when you click the like button. If you subscribe, if you're not already subscribed, share, all of that keeps the channel in the algorithm. Leave comments after the video. I continue to engage. So thank you so much. This, of course, is on the Karen Huger, Andy Cohen sit down, and she got an entire episode to herself. And so this was episode, still Real Housewives of Potomac. We've gotten through an okay season. And sometimes I thought it would be a good season. At other times it was lackluster. I felt the loss of Karen. I missed Karen during this season. I feel like the OGs, which would be Giselle, and the veterans, which would be Wendy and Ashley, kind of left a lot to be desired. Everybody else was pretty new. Stacey on her second season. Kierna on her second season, first one with the flute. Jazzy has been around, but she's friend of. Angel is brand new, a rookie, trying to be ushered in by Kierna. So I think this season left a lot to be desired, but I'll have to say, I really enjoyed seeing Karen for this whole episode. We've made it to season 10. We are in episode 17. So this is a slight recap, a lot of opinion, and it's called Karen Comes Home. So join me, come in, click the like button if you have not already. And if you are not where you are just in the bushes and you can't leave a comment, that's fine as well. Thank you for that. I always appreciate people that take the time to come in during the live. So I'm going to go in and let me see. I had a picture of Karen. I'll see if I can put it up. I meant to save it before the live, but if I can get it on here, I'll do that as well. And Karen is looking great. She got out of jail. They actually gave us a little bit of a preview last week, and then they've been really good about putting stuff on YouTube for us. Also Peacock, if you have Bravo, they show quite a bit of things. So I do appreciate the fact that they do that for us. So I just dropped the picture. I'll see how that looks. I might cut off the top of her head, but we'll see what happens with this. And then if I move over to the side, we will have a little bit of Karen. Okay, that's me next to her, but we'll see. Okay, so that is the Grand Dame. And she is released. We got a little bit of this scene last week where she came out and she was in her set it off braids. Welcome in, Sharon Gobble. Thank you for being the first one here to the live. I appreciate you as always so much. And you are saying hello, Sandra P's Gen Extra and chat. So everyone that comes in during the live, thank you so much. And click the like button. I appreciate you. So Karen's released. She comes out. Karen is in her set it off braids. Karen looks really good. She looks, might I say, refreshed and relaxed. She comes out and she has her braids. She has a little silk scarf or do-rag tied around her head. She is wearing an oversized blazer and also oversized jeans and some cute boots. And a bodyguard greets her. Looks like they let her out of a back exit or something. He walks right up to the steps. Karen looks a little bit overwhelmed, but she's handling it pretty well. He ushers her to the car, lets her get into the car, and she waves at fans. She said, wait a minute, roll the window down. The cameras are, of course, following her in the car, and she waves, and you can hear people saying, Karen, hey, Karen. And then she rolls the window up. She asked the driver, who's this? I didn't hear the news outlet he said, but she said, roll the window back up. And she said, I hope that wasn't too rude. So she didn't speak to news media, but she spoke to fans if she could kind of differentiate the two. Get to the house. Ray, her younger sister Bridget, and the lovely Raven, Karen's daughter, are there. Never noticed how much Ray looks like, or Raven looks like her dad, Ray. But Raven's so beautiful. I didn't notice, but that is Ray's mini me. Raven looks just like her dad, but she's a beautiful young woman, of course. I agree with Sharon. She says Karen looks great. She looks just well rested. Of course, she went through rehab before she went in there. We find out later she's able to teach classes in there for NA, also AA, and I believe they do therapy and that sort of thing. And then she's in there with people that kind of viewed her in a mother role because Karen is, as she put it, 320s. She's 60 years old. And in a place like that, I think younger people would gravitate to her. So when they get there, there's Ray, Raven, and Bridget are saying, you think she's going to just walk right in? Ray says, yeah, he's joking. Karen's not going to be like, I'm not knocking on the door. I won't knock on the door of my own house. So I thought that was pretty funny. I'm going to see if I can put this picture to the side of me. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't want to play with this too much while I am online, but there's different things that I'm learning how to do with this, and it just makes it more convenient to me to be able to kind of play around with it. I appreciate everyone's patience. That is a little bit better, okay? So the sister Bridget is there, and then Raven is so cute. She's teasing her dad. Oh, look at you. You printed this out. He had a welcome home sign, the plainest sign. But Ray, that is nice. That's good for Ray to be able to do that. Remember, they used to call him the Black Bill Gates. And then Giselle and them put a stop to that. They let everybody know of Ray's tax problems, and Karen ended up paying the bills and all this kind of stuff. So I love seeing the family sitting there, letting us have a window into this, because this was very intimate, everybody. This was her getting out of jail, going straight there. And then a week later, one of the head honchos, which is Andy Cohen, love him or hate him, he's executive producer over there at Bravo and in an executive role, high level, come into her home. And the house looked good, y'all. So Robin, y'all can deliver pizza there and try to make fun of her. The Grand Dame's house looked good, and she wasn't home to organize it. So we'll keep that in mind. Bridget was there. Raven was there. We'll see her son Brandon a week later and her cousin David. So they complimenting on the decor that Ray did. He had flowers for her. Ray, this was so sweet. Y'all, he tried to help her. That night, he showed up on the scene, and her mouth just, the police reached the point where he was like, you're intoxicated. I got to take you in. So we'll get to that. And Karen was sitting down. She's still in her clothes that she got out of prison in. She said there are women in there that were 20 years old. I was able to get my hands on some of them. So that means Karen was able to speak life into others during possibly the lowest part of her life. I was actually happy to hear that. Different people will make different things of this. I don't think Karen is like popping her own collar or trying to brag about getting close to some of the women or trying to mother some of the women. I think she felt the gravity of where she was. I mean, that's jail. And she was there, 6 months? She had longer than that. They would have given her longer than that. I don't mind her getting out early. So she sits down a little bit. She said, I found a purpose. She ended up telling Raven, she said, I want you to know I'm proud of the woman that you are. I didn't want you to see me like that, but I'm glad that you did. And that meant something to both of them. They kind of cried a little bit over each other. She looked at Bridget, who is her sister. Bridget is Karen Huger's twin, a little bit younger without the wigs and the lashes and all this stuff. That is her sister. Beautiful, beautiful lady. She says, little sis, and Bridget's just smiling. And they shared that moment with us. I thought it was really heartfelt, and I love that. And she said, okay, she started walking upstairs. Is everybody good? I got to get upstairs. I got to get a shower. Got to get this jail off me. Is everybody good? She checked on the crew. Andy was showing us a lot of behind the crew, a lot of fourth wall breaking. We saw the cameraman in the home. I see why people like Karen. Karen is a wonderful host. She's stepping foot in her own home after more than 6 months or so in jail and has a whole camera crew there and still gracious. Because I don't think I could have done it. So she went up the stairs, said goodbye to her little sis, goodbye to Raven, and went to go and change. So next, we have Karen coming. Oh, we'll see. We'll have the scene where Uber Black shows up, or an executive car, an SUV, we see Andy Cohen. Now, I will say, I haven't done the research. This is all my opinion. And I thank everybody that likes, subscribes. With Sandra P. Extra, you're going to get opinion. I'm not boots on the ground. I don't do research on this stuff. I give my opinion on what I watch. If I'm in the YouTube streets or if I'm on IG, X, when I don't go to X, I find like different threads. I go to threads, IG, some of the other sites, Jasmine Brand. I love No Chaser TV. I love Chase. Get well, Chase. Chase had some work done on his eyes. But certain places I'll go and see certain things. I will incorporate that in my reviews. But this is just my opinion. I don't know that Andy Cohen has ever been into the home of a housewife in this capacity to film like this, even Beverly Hills. He came to her. He didn't summon her to New York. And she didn't go to the last reunion. She was in rehab. So Andy Cohen went to her space. He went to her. So we can make of that what we will, but I don't think Karen Huger's going anywhere soon. I know there are people that don't want her back. I'm not people. I do want her back. Let me put up where I can see the comments again. Welcome in, Mama Bees. Thank you so much for coming in during the live. I appreciate it. That is one of my moderators, A1 Day Ones. Glad to see you. Keywan J, this is one of my new friends, younger cousins, and also fellow content creator. Those of you that are here, I hope you already know Keywan J TV. If not, what are you waiting for? Scripted TV, reality TV. She did a very candid series, transparent on herself. So just get over here and meet Keywan J. I'm glad YouTube introduced me to her. Sharon Garbo is speaking to everyone that came in, and Keywan J is speaking back. I need to find you in your socials, Miss Sandra. Okay, I'll make sure I'll put that on the I'll put that on my description when I go in there and do that. So it's Threads, IG. I can't take X. They get too wild over there. X, very insulting. Ever since the South African bought X, I left. So Andy pulls up. Ray opens the door. He opens the door to his home. Andy comes in, and he said, I like that he greeted Ray Huger. And Ray's just like an older black man. Andy. Like this not Karen's high up boss. He said, Andy. They shook hands and they hugged. It was very warm. I'm sorry. Andy Cohen likes these people, y'all. I don't know what people think of Karen. I actually like Karen, but Andy Cohen, he paid homage and he showed respect to Karen and to Ray. So he came in the house and he asked how Ray's doing. Ray said, he's doing well. He said, you got your wife back? Ray said, yeah, he's glad. She's different, but she's back. Karen came down the stairs, and I agree with Sharon Garbo. She looked beautiful. She was wearing, I would have called beige or tan, but Karen let Andy know later that was blush. She said she don't really wear beige, okay? So she came down in a shift blush-colored dress. She was showing them legs. She looked really good. She's in great shape. She said she got to work out while she was in there. So she came downstairs, and we have a Grand Dame sighting. And she says she probably won't go by that name. I've heard her say that. I do see a differentness in Karen. I do feel she is a little more humble, but not like humbled, like she's begging to have her job or anything like that. She's just giving her side of the story. And I'm glad that she didn't bow down or sitting up here thirsty, because I feel like Bravo, just being a Bravo fan over the years, I see how they treat certain franchises, Married to Medicine, Real Housewives of Potomac, Real Housewives of Atlanta, okay? The brown to black ones. They feel like we are lucky to have the show and that we don't get the respect, the trips, the different things that Beverly Hills and a lot of these other franchises get. And I don't understand it. I don't like it. And it's nothing different than what goes on in the world, especially in the US, but I don't like it. So I do like that they came to the Queen, Andy Cohen, had to take a flight and then got in a car and then went to her home. So I do like that. Anytime, Keywan J, you are welcome. So we find out that Andy personally wrote Karen a note. He said, did you get my note? So Andy, let us find out. You sent a prison letter to Karen. She said they can't get physical letters, but they scanned it in and they sent it to her tablet. So that's something new. He said, I had sprayed it with La Dame. And she said, oh, Andy, that touched her. Because is that still in stores? So he had to find that, or he already had it. He said, I wanted you to get a sense of home. So I loved all these little moments. I was impressed with it. And he said, you look beautiful. And she did. She looked great in her shift. She had them legs out. He wanted to know. He said, "You're home." She said, "I'm home." They hugged. They hugged a long time. It was really warm, really. I hear that around Bravo, the Bravo verse, the Bravo celebrities, they all want to be close to Andy Cohen, and they get jealous of the ones that are. I think Karen is close to Andy. I do. Not that they're best friends, because she is a different generation than him. He wouldn't hang out like when he got became friends with Bethany or Anini. Now, both those situations went left, but I can see that he respects Karen and also Ray Huger. So Ray says, "Well, let me take you through for a glass of water or something." Ray is just like an old black man. I always like Ray. So we get to the kitchen, y'all. David, which is Karen's cousin from Surrey County, that's Kern. They love their cousin Karen, and she always says she's a country girl. And her son Brandon, are in the kitchen. Cece, welcome. She's my moderator, one of my friends, one of my A1 day ones. Thank you for coming in, Cece, during the live. I appreciate it. I've kind of just started the review. The backdrop I've given is they kind of showed a lot of it. Well, not a lot, but at least a scene and a half online. And then last week, the preview was pretty lengthy as well. But Andy Cohen has just pulled up to the house. Ray's taking him through to the kitchen for some water. And we see that Karen's cousin David is there. We have a Brandon sighting. Now, Raven was there when Karen first got there. This is a week later. And then we got Andy. You didn't watch it yet? I didn't watch, but I'm hearing not so great reviews. Yeah, a lot of people feel like she's on her Karen. And I think it's because, like, the way and I'm proud of the fact, she didn't bow down. She's not thirsty. She's not like overly, "Oh, Andy, is she going to take me back?" She's not doing that. She's like, "Yes, Andy, I was in jail for a year. Yeah, yeah." She's doing she's retaining her dignity. And we have to be able to do that. I don't see a thing wrong with it. At 60, I wouldn't beg for a job either. But Kiwan J, I think that's a lot of the feedback. If you get a chance to watch it, I think you will actually see what some people are talking about. But so far, I love it. I loved it. Cece, thank you. Please like and share the live. Yes, everybody, that keeps me in the algorithm. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So Brandon has his baseball hat low. He's in the kitchen. Now, I said that Raven is Ray's twin, and I just noticed it because Raven's so pretty and Ray's just the old black man. Raven is Ray's twin. Brandon looks just like his mother, Karen. He's good looking. He's got his hat low. He doesn't want to walk down the street and have anybody recognize him. That's Brandon. That's Karen's son. He doesn't want that. Andy had the nerve to say, "Why you always hide from our cameras?" This is not Jackson Andy. He's not hiding. He said, "I'm a busy man. I'm busy." They talked a little bit about Karen. He said, "Well, when my mom was away, I was handling everything." So y'all know Ray must have been kind of devastated. The son took over everything. He said he handled finances, everything. So that says to me, he's making sure bills are paid, all of this. And we also find out Ray was visiting Karen. Raven visited Karen. They all kind of kept her spirits up in there. Andy doesn't know Brandon at all, y'all. We saw him on the show years ago, but if I remember correctly, he hasn't been around like that. Raven either. We see a little bit of her, but I don't blame Karen. I guess she don't want Ashley to get at him. Oh, bobblehead Darby to start sniffing. So Andy's like, "Well, who's older?" He's older. Raven's not there, but she was there a week ago. And he says that everything was surreal, seeing her in that environment. And he says, "Well, what did that mean?" Karen said, "It meant the world. It meant the world." So y'all, Karen got held down in there. I think that's bothering some people. You know what? I'm not a person that wants to see people broken unless they deserve breaking. There are people that deserve breaking. Believe it. CDW, hello, everyone. Thank you for coming in during my live. It's good to see you. I'm glad you made a live. Hello. Click the like button, please, if you haven't already. Kiwan says, "I'm just going to skip the reunion. Everyone deserves grace." Yeah, this union is going to be a trip. I think they're going to kick down on Dr. Wendy. And it looks like Karen and Wendy still have smoke from before Karen went away. This is a mess. Mama B says, "I liked it. Karen showed humility to me." I think she did too. I don't know how low they want her to go. What is she supposed to do? This is a wife, a mother. She's 60 years old. She's been on this job 10 years. She's shown us a lot of her life. We've seen her drunken. We've seen her wig lifted. We've seen all that. What more do we want Karen to do? I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with what she did. So Karen is sitting down talking. She says they really work hard to keep me out of general population. She called it Gen Pop. Go ahead, Granda. She said, "I said, if I'm going to be here, I need to learn the lesson." And so when she did mingle with the girls, as she said during when she first got home, there were young girls in there, 20 years old, in their 20s, kind of looking up to her. And then we find out that because she had been in rehab, she asked them if she could teach NA, which is Narcotics Anonymous, and AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. So I guess that month or so she spent in rehab, the jail used that as, credit for her to get more time off, and the fact that she has life knowledge that she could give to them. And I don't see anything wrong with that. She said, it's not that I got special treatment. They did credit her with life experience and the fact that she's able to teach these things. So I don't see a problem with that. Mama Bees is greeting people as they come in. Hey, CDW. And let's see what CC. Hey, CDW, thanks for joining the live. Yes, thank you so much for joining the live. I mean, Andy and Bravo gave Karen a whole episode. Okay, so out of 17 episodes, she hadn't been there all season, and she gets one full episode and first chair. Hello, so that is saying a lot. Ray is saying that she wasn't as into the phone, so I didn't know they could have their phone. She said no, but she kept up to date with a lot of the friends. Ray was the only one to really talk politics to her. He's like, well, you wanted to. She said, yeah, kind of keep my mind off certain things. And she had friends that want to tell her everything. Hey, Cookie. Hey, Cookie. Thank you for keeping Karen abreast. She had friends that wanted to tell her all the social media stuff. She didn't name Cookie. I did. Y'all know I like to play with Cookie. But I won't point at Cookie, and I won't do too much with Cookie, but I like her. 1 second. What, boo? I'll have to tell you in a minute. Okay. So he says, you are a free woman. How does it feel? She said, I've been through hell, Andy. Now, this must be what people are talking about, Mama B. I've been through hell, Andy. Karen, you have been in jail, rightfully so. I wouldn't call it hell, okay? Hell would have been if you had hurt or killed yourself or someone else. So I'm not going to police what Karen said, but when she told Andy that, I think that might have rubbed people the wrong way. You're a free woman. How does it feel? I've been through hell, Andy. And she was serious. She said, let's talk about the film that broke the internet. She brought it up. So you know what? If somebody's willing to spill their own, you can't humiliate them with it. She brought up Thomas Jefferson's concubine. Andy said, let's talk about it. So they started talking about that immediately. I was kind of surprised at that, but I was glad that she did it that way. That was kind of brave. He said, how did you feel about that? He said, we've seen the whole thing. And she said, I hadn't watched the video. I sheltered Ray from a lot of that, so he didn't watch it. My lawyers told me, Karen, you need to go ahead and take a plea. This is going to be bad. Of course, they watched the video. And he's like, how could you not watch it? She said she was in denial. And I can understand that. Just the wig alone, that wig was sliding. It was all the way back. And the way she was speaking to the police officer. So, of course, because she hadn't seen it, she watched it with her therapist later. Bravo shows us again. Thank you, Bravo. I saw that all over the place. And it was kind of hard to watch. So I guess she feels like as low as she has been taken or taking her cell, she cannot be any more humiliated. And they showed Ray at the scene. I admired Ray at the scene at the time. My heart went out to him, just being an older man, them letting her call home and her saying, this is my husband, he's here. And you could tell she was out of it. She mentions later that she was blackout drunk, but still able to talk. I agree with that. He was like, oh, she had a couple of beers. And then she was asking the cop, they put her in the front seat. Do you know who I am? And then when they got to jail, it got even worse, because if you've watched Law and Order over the years and any of those first 48, don't talk to those people. Wait till the attorneys get there. You've got nothing to say. Give your name and just wait for your attorney and all that talking. Who, Karen? Karen was in a detention center, nothing like a prison or full-blown jail. Where was she held is for minimum crimes. Where she was held is for minimum crimes. Exactly, Mama Bees. So when saying things like, I've been through hell, I wouldn't go there, Karen. That is not hell. Especially when contrast her with some of the women that are there at 20, and they're set up for a life of, if they don't turn it around now, they could be in and out until they're 60, and it won't stay minimum. So Karen is blessed, and I'm always glad that she didn't, again, hurt or kill herself or someone else. Did y'all see that car wrapped around the tree? The car was terrifying. Before I saw her on the scene and then the officer, I didn't know if she had been really hurt or killed or not. I think because she was so drunk, she walked away like that. So that was a trip. So there's a few rumors that were going around. Ashley was out there saying, she might have said it on a Watch What Happens Live or alluded to it on the reunion. Somebody else might have been in the car. Karen might have said that. I didn't really get the whole thing about what Karen was saying. Somebody was here and drove off. I don't know what she said, or if she was trying to lie that she wasn't driving. I don't know. Some of that came up, but Karen saying that's not true. She didn't watch the video until she watched it with her therapist. Her therapist said to her, "You've got to face this." And so that is when Karen watched the video. Now, this I did not know until she brought up. People alluded to it over the years. I didn't know. I just thought she was a drunkard. She started saying that she has been in denial for over 20 years. Her children started thinking, also Ray, that she had problems with at least alcohol for 20 years. That was when her first DUI occurred. But she said during the time she was speaking to her doctor about it, he felt like giving her a prescription might help her. Now, I thought it was really strange. Andy Cohen wanted to know exactly what it was. She said, I can't say that because I could get sued. She said, I can't say that because I could get sued. And I can understand that. You can't name a drug that you wrapped your car around a tree and not expect these people to come after you. So she just said prescription drugs and drink. And he said, so you were cloudy? She said, yeah, I was cloudy and I was in denial. So I thought she was open on this part. She isolated Ray. Andy asked about a rumor. Were you given a deal where you could have pled guilty and then had house arrest? She said, no, that is untrue. I believe her because I think she would have taken that. She said she was afraid to watch the video. And she said when she did watch it with her therapist, she was blown away. And she said she understood. She said, I understood the sentence. Andy tried to do a gotcha. He said, well, this was before the actual sentence. She said, no, I know. I knew when I watched the video with my therapist, the sentence was coming. So I knew what she was talking about because that was bad. Karen was going down. After that whole scenario, she was going down. So I applaud her on that. The whole Thomas Jefferson's concubine thing, I don't know, maybe she met one of her ancestors. The whole thing was bizarre. He said, what did you think when you looked at that? Thomas Jefferson's concubine, what do you think? She said, I don't know. I think that woman is a blackout. She was blacked out and still talking, and the whole thing is nuts. So Karen admitted to it. She said, he said, what's your relation to alcohol? What's your relationship to alcohol now? She said, I'm sober. Andy tried to be slick. You consider yourself sober? She says, I am sober. He said, when was the last time you had a drink? She said, after the accident. So I do think I remember that because when she came back that season, after she had this accident, and Giselle and Ashley and different ones would try to do gotcha on her, I think she was doing like wine or something like that. And I would prefer her not drink at all. But I think she took a minute before she said, okay, I can't drink at all. And that's what she ended up doing. So I believe her. Thank you, Mama Bees. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share the live, keep the channel in the algorithm. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mama Bees. So we find out years ago she had a problem. She kept saying this 20 years, but then she also mentioned a time she said when she was 19 years old, something happened. We know that this was the SA. This came up in earlier seasons. And she also says that you have your soul taken from you, and then you go home, and then people in the family don't even believe it. So I'm unsure as to what the whole scenario was. She might have alluded at some point in the past when it came up on the show. It might have been a person known to her. So I don't know if it was a date, R word, or anything like that. But this devastated Karen. She said that she was kind of stuck in the 19-year-old mindset. So part of her did not grow up. I mean, she seems mature, but I could see what she was talking about. She said, now this night she was running from something her and Ray had been going through. She said, I wasn't happy. I had not been happy in a long time. The kids were out of the house. The house was like a tomb. And then she didn't mention it, but I'll mention it. A lot of the stuff that she was going through on the show and probably put other people through on the show. Because you can't tell me this little pick doesn't get to these ladies at some point. And then she does say, I'm grateful. I didn't hit a person. I could have killed someone. I'm glad I didn't. I don't drink and drive. Andy says, well, you have 4 times. Karen set the record straight. She said, let's be clear. I've had 2 DUIs and 2 other alcohol-related incidents. And the first DUI was 20 years ago. It doesn't make it better, but it clears it up, because people say that all over social media. She got 4 DUIs. She needed more time. 4 DUIs, 4 DUIs, 4 DUIs. No, 4 DUIs is driving under the influence. Doesn't have to be drink. It can be prescription as well, which she alluded to. And then 20 years between the two. The other two, we know she had a driver, which they made fun of her. Hello, Cherise. They made fun of Karen for having a driver, Blue Eyes, on the show. Alluded that she's going with the man. That might have been true, but Karen still needed a driver. Excuse me, you have to go into the other room and charge it. I told you that. It's already plugged in. So it's already plugged in, the room that y'all are in. And stay in there, please. So she had the 2 DUIs, and then she had 2 other alcohol-related incidents. So that could be drunk and disorderly. Doesn't have to involve a car. So she's brought up again how she was asked to volunteer. No, she asked to volunteer after she got out of AA. She said she prefers NA. Now, I don't know a lot about Narcotics Anonymous versus Alcoholics Anonymous. Some people do have a preference. I'm not sure. But it was kind of strange. Andy was trying to get her to say her relationship with alcohol, and she really didn't want to do it. Kiwan, I'm finding that too. Her stories haven't changed. No, it haven't. When I've seen different stories, it's because of social media and different things I've read. But Karen has always said the same thing. Has Andy ever addressed his alleged DRU use? CC, that would have been a good question to ask him back. Hello? No, he never has. I know he got so angry that he kept, I'll say it, Nene, one of the most popular, iconic housewives. Whether you like her or not, you know a Nene-ism. He didn't want that woman to come back to Bravo at all. Just thawed the ice because she said something about him that, I don't know Nene to be a big liar. I don't know about all that, but she was hanging out with him personally. Bethany was as well. That's another one he won't talk to. So he never addressed that. Kiwan is laughing. Andrew will never. I don't think he will either, but that is, hypocritical. Some people will hold others to a certain standard they don't live up to, because he wants to know what's her relationship with alcohol. Well, she has admitted to it that she was drunk. She can't deny it. She wrapped her car around a tree. So they talked more about that, did a little kind of dance between alcohol. Would you consider yourself an alcoholic? She would not admit to that. She says when she was SA at 19, that hurt from there, locked in. She says she'll consider herself, I wrote it down because it was bizarre, the phrasing. I am a human being who has addiction to alcohol. That's what she said. She said she's not an alcoholic, but she's a human being who has addiction to alcohol. So that was kind of strange. And Andy said, well, this is kind. He said, well, this is kind of difficult the way you're phrasing it, because she didn't want to use his words against herself. So I don't have a problem with her saying she's a human being with an addiction to alcohol rather than I'm an alcoholic. So she can call it what she wants to call it. She has served the time that the court gave her for it. So I'll give her credit for that. And then Karen says, I think what it is, she said, you know how hard a time the therapist had convincing me that I had a problem? She says, I think what it is what the prescription part of it, the doctor writes the prescription. The alcohol is me. I have to pick that up. So I guess, I don't know, even the alcohol is legal. Prescription drug is legal as well. Not the abuse of it, but one of them, I guess people kind of point more of a finger at a person. So I don't know. Andy pressed on that again, and she said, I'm a person who chooses to live in lifetime recovery from drugs and alcohol. And then Andy asked a question. We heard that you, one of the papers reported, you promised the judge that you would be in AA for the rest of your life. She said, let's be clear. I do live like that. So she will be in NA or AA for the rest of her life. But she said she didn't make that promise. She does prefer NA. So I don't understand the difference, but I'm sure there is. I know one is more religious based, they said. Then you are an alcoholic. Yeah, Mama Bees, it's just, they're phrasing it a different way. A human being with an addiction to alcohol versus are you an alcoholic? Is an alcoholic is a human being with an addiction to alcohol. I think they're both saying the same thing, but she won't give him that. And he wants to look like a hard-hitting interviewer unless you ask him something about the ski slopes. Okay? Allegedly, and in our opinion. So Andy says a lot of people wanted to know about your homecoming outfit. Where'd you get the clothes? She said, I had on a beige jumpsuit. He had mentioned that's what you're wearing tonight. She said, actually, this is blush. So we see signs of the Grand Dame. She said that I think it was her makeup artist, Tati, brought her the clothes that she had on. So it was the oversized. She said the jumpsuits were cute. They were just beige, and she don't wear a lot of beige. But she had on the oversized jeans, blue jeans, and then a white blazer, and then the little scarf or bandana, little silk colored blue and white scarf that she had on. So Tati brought her those clothes. And Karen said before she went in, she took a picture. Her and Raven would always lie on the couch and talk. They are very close. So they showed us a really touching picture. It's very intimate. Her and Raven just holding hands. And Karen had that with her when she went in. Andy wants to know, how does it feel to be stripped of everything? Karen played kind of dumb. I wasn't stripped. I had on black panties and a black bra, lace. Okay, Karen. So Andy says, no, you know what I mean? Natural hair, no lashes. She said, I was thrilled to get rid of the lashes. The hair took a little more getting used to. She said, I wasn't used to the salt and pepper. She said, but when I come out, I'll be white. So I can understand that. Some people have a hard time with the salt and pepper. I'm more white, but I do have the mix. And then actually it's like a weird looking blonde or something that occurs too. So some people are really uncomfortable with it. They really are. Some people are uncomfortable with mine. I've had people give me unsolicited advice. I can tell you how to get the gray out your hair. Now, this is a person I've known almost 15 years. I've never seen her real hair, ever. But you can tell me how to get the gray out of my hair. Excuse me if I decline, okay? No, thank you. No, thank you. So the other thing Andy wanted to talk about, how was your sale? She said it was more of a room. So I don't know. I'm thinking of it like, well, years back, I used to watch Orange is the New Black before it got too much, before the men guards got involved and stuff. And she said it was more of a room. So I could kind of picture that in my mind, not like a cell. He said, are the toilets tin, like the tin, those hard metal toilets? She said they are. Concern for her was like, how many people have sat on these? Karen, you know there has. A lot of people. So she said that a good thing I'm a country girl. She said she went to the commissary and said, I'm having a terrible problem with my cycle. Now, Karen, how old was this person you were talking to? At 60? So she floated that somehow and ended up getting 7 maxi pads and made a cushion out of her toilet. Y'all, I found that really funny. Karen is a trip. So she said and he said, what time you get up in there? She gets up at 4:30 because breakfast was 5 o'clock. And then she loved the structure of it. That the class that she taught for the girls, that started at 9:30. And then from then until lunch, they would be in their AA or NA class and just learning life lessons from her. So I found that really interesting. He said, was the food okay? She said, no. Kind of like astronaut food. They have crab meat, chicken. He said, oh, the dirty bird. Remember, Karen had a whole episode. We dragged Karen. Karen threw away so much chicken. And I found that really, I don't believe in wasting food like that. And she was just doing it for a scene. She said, no, I didn't eat the chicken. I would eat the crab, but I didn't eat the chicken. He said, what was it like the first few nights? She said, lights out was 9:45. She said it was terrifying. I prayed out loud. You know, God, I'm scared. But she was, of course, able to make it through. Let me see. Cece is speaking to everyone. Thank you, Cece. Sharon is speaking to Cece. There are small dorm rooms. Okay, Mama Bees, that's what I pictured. That makes sense. So he says, well, how do you feel being welcomed back to the Hornet's Nest? Karen said, it has always been the Hornet's Nest. I'll be fine. And he said, you didn't go to the last reunion because you were in rehab. And I knew that. I felt like she didn't want to face the fire because she would run out of every scene her last season before she went away. Giselle and Ashley, I don't care for either one of them. I can give them credit when they're doing something that is a little funny or witty or to move the story around. Less so in the past season or two, particularly this season. I'm disgusted with them both. And I think they did the same thing to Karen. He said, how you feel about the last reunion? She said she hadn't watched it. And he said, I figured you haven't. He said, the ladies were measured. I don't think so. I think they piled on her. I think they were ignorant. I think Ashley and Giselle had a lot of opinions. Even Dr. Wendy weighed in. Stacy was talking. So he was trying to soften it. He showed Karen some of the clips on his laptop. And I'll show you some of the clips. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Karen was looking at it too, y'all. I think this is going to come up later.
Why do you all think Karen decided to take this case to trial?
I don't know. Karen had terrible legal counsel. Knowing that footage was out there, who would advise that she has a public trial?
Absolutely. And maybe she didn't remember what happened that night. Maybe when we were watching the footage, maybe she was watching it like us and seeing how awful she was.
That's probably the first time she saw it.
Weeks ago was reported that her counsel asked for the footage to be suppressed before she went to trial. So it's clear that not only were they aware of the footage, they were also aware of the context because they didn't want it out.
They're trying to get rid of it.
I hope that answers your question.
That's what I'm saying.
But if you saw that,
I know.
it's big delusion.
That's from what I understand, she pushed it.
The night after Karen's accident, this journalist was texting me things about the incident, okay? And one of the things I wanted to ask her if she were here.
Y'all see that? You see Karen's face when they were doing all that talking? I don't think that's measured. I think that's piling on. I think it is the reunion. Andy asked you a question. You have a right to give your attention. But I think I would have been sitting there like Karen, sitting pretty. I don't think I would have yak like Ashley, Giselle, Dr. Wendy. I think Karen's got a little bit of something for all of them. I really do. I'm looking forward to it. Stacey has already said that this reunion was hot. She said Dr. Wendy was the most in the hot seat. Karen and Dr. Wendy have some type of undercover beef. That was another thing that came up. Let me get to that part of my notes. They brought up the day drinking. Dr. Wendy was she alluded to something and she was like, I'm not gonna say it. Andy said, say what you want to say. That was during that reunion. And she did it. And that's when Ashley picked up the story. I was on the train coming here and I showed this man a picture of the cast. And he was like, I know this lady, she comes in illegal seafood and she gets drunk every day. And Karen gave Ashley, points. She said, Ashley's telling the truth about that. Ray picked me up many a days from legal seafood. My thing is, okay, that's true. Karen confirmed it's true. Why is that something to be gleeful about, telling someone about? That someone, remember, Karen ushered Ashley in and put Ashley under her wing. Okay, and Ashley married to Michael Darby. She didn't have an easy time of it either. When Robin and them used to drag her and make fun of her, and now she's one of the mean girls. She doesn't remember that. The North remembers. I remember that. Oh, this is the comment I was looking for. Mama Bees, Dr. Wendy, shut up. You going to prison and not detention? Yeah, Mama Bees, you called that early on. I'm just waiting to see how it plays out. And Karen, for Ashley to bring Karen's picture to the reunion, I said I wasn't going. Don't put my picture up in a chair next to you. I don't like that kind of stuff, y'all. That's not cute. And I don't think Andy should have allowed it. Andy gonna get enough of those props. Because we don't want another, don't make me call Portia the situations where you can play with everybody if you want, but everybody's not playing. I don't like that kind of stuff. Kiwan JTV says, I think Wendy said something because Karen's not acknowledging her. Yeah, her and Karen have something going on that we don't know the details. Ashley Bobblehead Darby, I might cover an extra at the end of this. She was on Watch What Happens Live last night. And she was, of course, running her mouth again about Angel, about the Wendy situation. Karen, she was doing a lot of talking. She was there with Dr. Jackie. Dr. Jackie was sitting pretty, but she was in the middle. She was sitting on the middle of that fence, y'all. She wouldn't move. They had a whole game about defending your friend. Dr. Jackie wouldn't get off one side or the other between Saboda and Heavenly. So Karen claims that she's not angry. Oh, she said, Ashley told the truth about legal seafood. Ray picked me up many a day. She said, Wendy, I don't know what she's talking about. Now, Wendy basically said the same thing, that she was day drinking. She said, Wendy, I don't know what she's talking about. She said, nobody's going to ask her anything about me. She's all the way up there in Timbuktu. So we got a little bit of Karen coming out. But you see what Mama B told her? Dr. Wendy, shut up. You're going to prison, not detention. And I agree with it, especially up there to say it's Trump country, Orange Clown country. And I'm telling you, I saw some of that press conference that country sheriff did. They want a piece of Wendy and Happy Eddie. And I hate to see it just because of the kids. Y'all know I love Cam. Dang, now I have a taste for legal seafood, but the one in my area closed last year. Cece, you're going to have to take a drive. Where's the next one? That is funny. Cece was sending me information. I may have to cover that. There's so many businesses that are closing, y'all, in this climate, and people are trying to blame all kind of stuff. We know what it is. People are just not spending money. And I'm people. I'm not spending money. If I get a good deal, I will, but I don't care. I don't care if this whole economy kind of still continues to go downward. Keywan J said the entire last season, Wendy didn't say anything about Karen. It's too late to be mute, Keywan JTV. And I think she's like, uh-oh, Karen's almost out. Karen is still angry. So I don't think her silence this past season was enough. I don't think so. They said she had her crying at the reunion. So Karen claims she's not angry. She's the author of her life. And she points out, oh, they show another part of the reunion. Mia points out, I think it's strange that Karen didn't thank Wendy. Remember, Karen went through thanking everybody by name? And the lady said, wow. Andy points out, Wendy was upset that you didn't thank her. Karen said, that is a conversation that as friends, or we were friends, or maybe we are friends, we need to have. Wendy knows why I didn't thank her. So y'all, there's something behind the scenes that we don't really know about. Karen says it's still worth the conversation. Andy wants to know who reached out. Giselle's, Karen says Giselle did a great job reaching out, at least to Ray. You know, Karen had family only on her the dorm sheet information. So she didn't want them ladies up there. You know, Ashley would have been trying to throw digs, and when she was saying don't drop the soap, just ignorant. Just everything's not funny. So Giselle couldn't get in the doors, but I guess her family and possibly Cookie could. But she said Giselle did keep in touch with Ray to check on her. The only person that did not call was Wendy. So Dr. Wendy, why are you upset that Karen won't acknowledge you? She said Dr. Wendy didn't call and check on her. That's what she said. He said, what do you say to viewers about why you deserve a second chance? Y'all, her answer surprised me. This is where they want her to lay down and beg. She said, I don't know that I deserve a second chance. Tell him, Karen. That's what she said. I don't know that I deserve a second chance, but I've been very grateful to have the Bravo family. Bravo haven't always gotten the great shakes, but I feel like I have gotten treated well. Something like that, she said. And then he says, well, how's the show going to do for her or with her sobriety? She says, I think it actually saved me. I probably would have spiraled more quickly without the show and without, she said, I had a schedule. It gave me discipline. I had a routine. So Karen, whoever is Karen's PR, they're doing a great job. She says, I don't need to blame the show. So I guess they were looking for her to do that, and she didn't. She didn't beg for her job back, which I don't think her job's at risk. And I think if Bravo wants to know what else she got going on, shout out to Cynthia and shout out to WeGo. WeGo Podcast is usually boots on the ground to Rhea. So Andy's asking, how's it going to be how did you going through this, how does that put the petty drama in perspective? And she says, you know, she's ready, but she's not like desperate to get back into that. So I think that was interesting. Now, interesting enough, she said, Ray did tell me if I get this monkey off my back and I decide that we shouldn't be together, he can let her go. So Karen, is that a premonition? I don't know, y'all. I don't want the Black Bill Gates and Karen to break up. He done held you down, Karen, held you down with political news and commissary. Come on now. So I don't know. Andy says, well, it's sad. This is heartbreaking. Karen says it is heartbreaking, but she is a work in progress, and her and Ray are a work in progress. So if they don't make it, y'all, it will be Karen's decision. I hope they're not preparing us for a breakup, but at 60, I mean, you don't have to stay in a situation you don't want to be in. So I'll support whatever Karen and Ray do. But Karen, these streets, they're not for the faint of heart. And then Karen says, knowing Karen as an adult woman, I think she's pretty cool. I actually think Karen has grown a lot, but I mean, I'll give her grace because she probably has a lot more to go through because she hasn't really dealt with all this scrutiny yet. We see what the reaction is to this one episode. She hadn't been here all season, and people are, you know, they're saying she's doing this, she's doing that, she should have done more, she needs to do less. I don't know. So I really like what Karen did. She said she comes from a strong heritage of strong Black women. So even when what she went through at 19, where her soul was ripped from her body, ooh, y'all, the way she puts that is a trip. I don't know how she could be close to someone like Ashley, who I find predatory. And if Now we see why she shut Ashley down when she was trying to be friends with Raven. We see why. And we see why we don't get to see Raven and Brandon that much. That man told Andy, I'm busy, and had his baseball cap just like this. I couldn't pick Brandon out of a lineup other than I could see from his features. He looks a lot like Karen, but he wasn't out there like Jackson, serving drinks and at the bar and watch what happens live and over there on Sherry. So I don't know. This show could be a blessing and a curse. I'm like Jackie. I'm on the fence. I'm not twerking on the fence, but if I know she's coming back, I feel strongly she's coming back. I feel 9 out of 10 she's coming back. If she decided, you know what, I want to heal a little more. I don't really need this right now, and she doesn't, I'll miss her, but I understand. So she said it took a long time to forgive Karen. She was speaking in third person at this point, and she feels excited to see where she'll go, speaking of herself. And so Andy says, I'm proud of you. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me this moment to talk to you. And Karen says, thank you for allowing me to talk and be the author of my truth. Because again, we know that Ashley and Giselle and certain ones were just going to yak, yak, yak if she didn't come out and say what she wanted to say. So they stand up, shake hands, y'all, and hug again. So I thought this was really good. Just for what it was, y'all, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. And a lot of the points are just, I missed Karen. I'm glad to see her. She's in her own words. Andy didn't do a terrible job as an interviewer. I love getting inside their home. The home looked beautiful. Even when production showed up on their doorstep, the lady had just got home. Now, I hear different things about, they let her go out a different entrance and it was another day. I don't care about none of that. What I looked at, she had just got out of jail. She let the Bravo cameras go with her. And her sister were there, her husband were there, her daughter were there. Then a week later, the cameras are back with one of the top network bosses. She's sitting down with this man with her head in a tailspin. She says she's sober. I believe her. So now this is new. A lot of times she was able to be under the influence, and we've seen it, but she is a new Karen. And I appreciate that. So I'm going to give her and this episode 10 out of 10. Now I'll read some comments. I was one of those people, but I may take it back. That's what I actually love about you, Kiwan J. When I watch you, if someone needs to be dragged, you'll drag them. If they need grace, you'll give them that. But you're objective and you keep an open mind. Now, you see me with my cloak of immunity. I have people I try to coddle. Sometimes I shouldn't, but it's hard. But I do try to remain objective. And that's really important to do that. But all these people are human and they're sharing with us and don't have to. So I appreciate the fact that she did this, because I don't know now, do you think Giselle could? I don't think so. If Jamal Bryant said, I want to talk about when I was married to my first wife and I was having babies with the first 3 pews, I want to bring her together with my new wife and we want to talk. Giselle, let me tell you something, Bravo. You'll never get a camera to be as candid with somebody like Giselle and Ashy. Forehead, bobblehead, Darby. She's over there talking about everybody else. They would never do what Karen did. I need to see the reunion because I'm sure Wendy didn't nearly as much as Giselle did to Karen. I also think that's why Kierna went at Wendy so hard. Yeah, I'm going to see what's going to happen at that reunion. This is going to be a trip. Let me see. Oh, do as much. Yeah, I don't think so either. I need to see the reunion because I'm sure Wendy didn't do as much as Giselle did to Karen. I also think that's why Kierna went at Wendy so hard. Yeah. Oh, Mama Bees, you give it a 10 as well? Yes. I think it was a wonderful watch. It was well worth watching. I think Karen was a wonderful host, being home for the first time in months and months and months. I don't know how much time she actually got versus how much she actually did. I don't really care. It did make a difference to me knowing that it was 2 DUIs, which is, it is terrible. 2 DUIs is terrible, but it's not 4. And one being 20 years ago, and then the other one being the 2 years ago. And she did serve the time. You know, as long as, look, I go back to the Orange Clown on anything. Ask me anything, I'll go back on him. Long as you got people that are not in jail for things they need to be in jail for, I'm not going to go too hard on a reality star that is showing what she's showing of her life. Now, we have time. I will do a little short Sandra P's Gen Extra because I brought up Ashley Bobblehead Darby. This girl had the nerve, y'all. She's on Watch What Happens. Like, welcome in, Derry Vet. Thank you so much for joining me for the live. We just discussed Karen. Hey, Sandra in chat, I'm back. Thank you so much for coming back for this live. And she's laughing. Welcome in. You're going to be team replay for the Karen part of it because I'm getting to the extra for Ashley Bobblehead Darby. I'll give you a review recap, a 10. I haven't watched the interview yet. Cece, let me know what you think about it when you do watch it. Thank you so much for the 10 on my recap. I appreciate that. And Mama Bees is speaking to dear Yvette. Also, Cece welcomes her in. Thank you so much. So Ashley, she's there with Dr. Jackie, and they're on Watch What Happens Live. And then Andy asked her about something, or maybe he didn't ask her nothing. So she stood up there and she goes, what I want to say, I don't appreciate Angel trying to say that I am painting her husband, Bobby, as an angry black man. That's what she said. Let me see if I got the audio of that. I hope I do. So she has the nerve. She's mad about that. That she's painting Bobby as an angry black man. She's claiming that she didn't. But we know what she was insinuating when she said that. She knows 100% what she was insinuating. So she got kind of mad about it. And Andy looked at her like, and Dr. Jackie looked the same way. So I thought that was pretty funny. She said, the only reason I said that is because Bobby behind the scenes was talking loud. She said he raises his voice to production. But if you look at what Angel has been through this season on that show, I'm not shocked about Bobby raising his voice to production. And I actually don't have a problem with him raising his voice to production. I frankly don't care. I think production got off easy. And I think because Bobby's 6'5" and he's really large, people are going to act like, oh, I'm so scared. Like Chris Samuels, they talked about the paternity of that man's child. And when you're married, if the child born during the marriage, the mother, of course, is the mom. And then, might be daddy's maybe, but I tell you what, that is the child. So I didn't like Ashley or Giselle or any of them doing that, but that's what they did, and they got away with it. So now Ashley's sitting up there trying to pretend that she didn't say that when she did. Okay, here it is. I'll let y'all hear this.
Her
I can't believe I
experience as a
found
wag to Angels.
Okay, this was the first part. That's what he asked her.
Monique has a different
He
perspective.
asked her
on
about
things.
Monique. Here we go.
Angel has said that I was making her husband look like an angry black man, and I really don't appreciate that narrative. If anything, Bobby got very upset with production and was getting upset with the things that were happening with production, and he would raise his voice at that, and that was what I was talking about. But never once have I said that Bobby was angry or aggressive, and I would like for Angel to stop perpetuating that narrative.
Okay.
Thank you.
Millie A wants to know if you believe Monique was onto something comparing her experience as a wag
I'm
to
playing it
Angels.
again.
I do think that Monique has a different perspective on things. I do want to clear something up too, that Angel has said that I was making her husband look like an angry black man, and I really don't appreciate that narrative. If anything, Bobby got very upset with production and was getting upset with the things that were happening with production, and he would raise his voice at that, and that was what I was talking about. But never once have I said that Bobby was angry or aggressive, and I would like for Angel to stop perpetuating that narrative.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, Ashley didn't say Bobby is an angry and aggressive black man. Ashley said Bobby, that one, he's got a temper on him. Bobby's 6'5". He is a black man. He's retired NFL. People are going to be like, ooh, if he says anything. If he does raise his voice at production is with the ish, y'all. We know that. We've seen that this season. You don't have to like Angel. You could feel like she's dead wrong in some of the situations. If Bobby had to say, look, this and that, and if he had to raise his voice to these men, now production, come on now, don't try to act like y'all are so scared of Bobby when you're doing whatever you want to do. And now, if Bobby was doing that, is that the reason Angel's getting the edit that she was getting? Ashley, you raise more questions. I just want to clear something up. You're not clearing anything up, Funky Cole Medina. You're clearing nothing up. I cannot stand Ashley Bobblehead Darby. Sharon said exactly what I said before I read the comment. I can't stand Ashley. This is terrible. Thank you, Mama Bees. Ashley needs to keep her mouth off of other people's husbands. Thank you. She doesn't have Michael Darby there anymore to blame him for everything that's going on, and actually to make her interesting. Bobby is not aggressive. I don't care if he did raise his voice to production. That makes me feel better about him protecting Angel, because we saw what production was putting her through and allowing Giselle and Ashley to put her through throughout the season, particularly toward the end. And I don't care if her funky butt had water or not. Now, I didn't feel that before, but I feel that now. I don't care, Ashley. Swipe that credit card, dear Yvette. I can't stand Trashy. Now she wants to backpedal. Yeah, and try to blame it on Angel. I wish she stopped perpetrating that negative. She didn't perpetrate a negative anything toward Bobby. Ashley is the one that was doing that. And Ashley must think we're stupid. She didn't have to say, Bobby, you're a big aggressive black man. She said, Bobby, that one's got a temper on him. And you know what the man said? We'll be there when we get there. Angel said they called her 3 to 4 times when they were in the car. 3 to 4 times. I would have turned around and went back home. Y'all, this is a mess. I feel the same way. I don't like that girl either. CDW, she's too much. Sharon Gobble is laughing at her. Yeah, this is just terrible. I'm gonna find a way to protect Angel in this scenario, Sharon. Sharon feel like Angel should be one and done, one season wonder. And I understand why people do feel that way. She has had an incredibly tough season. But for the likes of Ashley, you're sitting here on Watch What Happens Live after the episode where he interviewed Karen. Now I understand he can't preview Karen just yet because she's going to be on the reunion that we'll watch next week. So he needs someone from Real Housewives of Potomac to sit next to Dr. Jackie, one of the cornerstones of their other high rating show, Married to Medicine. And you bringing up Angel when he asked you about Monique? No, there's something wrong with this girl. And I hope this is the last season. And I'm going to remind y'all, Michael Darby put his hands on the cameraman. We saw that. He put his hands on the cameraman, felt his backside. The man said, stop. And Mike's like, oh, come on. Because as she said, they joke around like that all the time. That man said, stop. I don't care if they joke around in private. He told your husband to stop. And Michael didn't stop. Michael had his hands full again. And they had that on tape, but they didn't have the right angle. So, y'all, this is how Monique and Ashley, Trashly, became friends. Thank you for that nickname of her. This is how they became friends. There's speculation that Monique and Chris Samuels, who had cameras all over their house, hid the camera. I mean, not the camera, but they hid the footage from him feeling on the cameraman so that the guy couldn't really, I know he sued. Something went on with HR, but he didn't really have the backup that he needed. The poor guy that Michael ended up feeling on. And he said out loud, and I heard him say it on one of the reunions, he would treat Juan Dixon like a lollipop. Y'all know Juan Dixon is fine. Whether you think he's a deadbeat or not, Juan Dixon is fine. Do y'all think Trashy on her way out? I hope so. Dear Yvette, I hope so. But I hope that every season. I just don't know. I'm hearing that villain edit she gets, and it's not just the edit, that's who she is. Because she draws so much engagement, it might keep her there, but I hope she's bringing nothing. Dean and Bean are writing a book. Who cares? I couldn't even remember. Sometimes I'm watching and I forget my notes. And when I was doing Ashley's blurb, I forgot what it was. I said something about Josh and Second Bloom. I forgot Dean and Bean were writing a book. Those two little white men that she got. You all know I don't like Ashley. Kiwan J, I don't like her either. A lot of us don't like her. There were people who used to find her funny. I'm people. Sometimes I find her funny. Like when she Googled Robin and Robin had $5. Robin wanted to choke Ashley. And Ashley was just smirking about it like it was funny. And it wasn't. It was embarrassing. And the reason why Juan and Robin don't have money, it will never be funny. That Robin invested that man's money after he told her not to. And then the man ended up deleting himself. And he was a friend of them and the family. So that I can't ever laugh about that. But Ashley, I think she knew all of that and didn't care. Sharon Gombo says, dear Yvette, I hope so. So we're all wishing Ashley doesn't come back. But the comments are on the same side as we are. And let me see who said this. The Bravo Shade Room, y'all. So that is a pretty prominent site that covers Bravo. So we'll see what's going to happen with Ashley. But they need to keep their mouth off of Bobby. Like Angel told them, I hope Angel can woo-saw. Angel, sit down with that indigenous woman. Take some deep breaths. Try not to take 3 to 5 business days before you answer a question. I know the reunion has already happened, y'all, but I hope she can get it out. She gets so flustered and she's so sensitive. I hope she can get it out because I want her to be able to really get her point across because I think that the way they treated her this season was despicable, house with no water or not. So another thing I'll bring up about Michael Darby, this is the last thing for the extra before I end. Michael Darby, in addition to putting his hands on a cameraman, telling Juan Dixon he would treat him like a lollipop, Robin's husband, also telling Ashley he's never going to marry her. He's not going to marry her. About Juan Dixon's own ex-wife, who he did remarry. Whatever we think about Robin and Juan, they did get remarried. Even though Robin told us to kiss her A and didn't want to show the wedding, they did get remarried. Even though she put it behind a paywall and got fired, they did get remarried. So that's another thing Michael Darby did. Ashley doesn't want to tell her business, but she's talking about everybody else. This is Angel and Bobby's first season, and she's talking about them and then warning Angel on Watch What Happens Live. She better go somewhere and sit down. Another thing Michael Darby did, Candace Dillon Bassard had a show down in Nassau. I can't remember it. What is the it's the big pink thing. It's called Atlantis. She had a show at the casino. I don't know if Michael Darby was already there or if he ended up there because he knew Candace was there. He approached Candace at one of her concerts and people had to back him off her because he was getting aggressive. This was when he was suing her over her telling everybody that he was out here paying for alone time with young men. So that's another thing Michael Darby did. And then the last thing, Bobby might have a temper because Bobby told them they'll be there when they get there, which is a true statement. Michael Darby threatened to put hands and feet on Chris Bassett and called the man white trash. Now, I don't care if you got 40 million to your name or not. White trash is white trash does, and I'll say it takes one to know one. I like Chris Bassett. I don't see him as white trash. No, I'm talking about not him getting remarried. I'm talking about Juan Dixon. Juan Dixon and Robin Dixon remarried each other. But when Michael Darby was still on the show, remember it was supposed to be a secret, and Giselle was talking to Juan about it. Michael ended up telling his wife, Ashley, he's not going to remarry her. He's never going to remarry her. Like he had some kind of stake in it or something. And find out he wanted Juan for himself. He was trying to get to the bachelor party so bad in Vegas. Oh, nasty thing. But y'all, that is it. That is the Karen. We gave it a 10 out of 10. So those of you who have not had time to watch it yet, it is well worth the watch. It's better than the last few episodes of Real Housewives of Potomac. So I recommend it. I give it a 10 out of 10. I loved it. I'm glad to see the Grand Dame back. You see her there looking lovely. I do hope if she's not humble enough for some people, she can have a happy medium where people realize this lady's 60 years old. She's been on this job 10 years. She's gained a lot. She's also lost a little from it. And she doesn't really owe us too much more than what she's given. I don't know what more people want from her. I really don't. Sharon, you give it a 10 also? Yeah, I thought it was. Thank you so much, Mama Beast. Y'all know you really encourage me when I do the lives and I see people coming to lives and compliment me. That means a lot, okay? Another great review. Thank you. So we got another 10 from Sharon and then CDW. I always appreciate your commentary. Thank you so much, CDW. I appreciate you as a supporter and a subscriber. And Sharon says, see ya. So y'all, thank you so much for joining me and I will see you in the YouTube streets. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.
I don't think that he's good for you. How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion! Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you? That I don't think that he's good. That I